Tricia, thanks for taking some time today. Couldn't you tell me, what is Carrying Our Future?
So Carrying Our Future is a community group. It's based in Palmerston North, and our main aim is to try to reduce single-use plastic bags in the city. We've been involved in public forums whereby we've invited politicians and researchers and key sort of stakeholders or people who are really interested in this issue. We've held them in the public library, we've held some community events, and we also hold regular bag making workshops as well. We've also recently had a single-use plastic bag forum, which was a conference based in New Zealand, and lots of people came from all over the country, including designers and engineers and so on, to that.
Yeah, learning to use it. So why are single-use bags a problem?
It's one of many problems to do with single-use plastic. So I guess the group is really involved in single-use plastics in general. We decided to start with single-use plastic bags because they're most ubiquitous. People use a lot of them every week. Those of us who don't use our own reusable bags, and so it's kind of an easy target, I guess. But the problem with them is that there's so many of them that go to landfill every year. They break down into small pieces. They're problematic for the environment in terms of toxicity, ingestion, and just general pollution issues. Also uses a lot of carbon and oil, so it also contributes to greenhouse gases and climate change.
All round. So why are you personally connected to this? What brought you into it?
I guess I as an environmental anthropologist, I watch a lot of films, environmental films, and one of them I watched was around single-use plastic bags, and it really impacted on me, particularly as a mother. I was particularly concerned about toxins in single-use plastics or in plastics in general, and so I've actually started doing more research around toxins and consumer plastics. But I thought again that the single-use plastics is an easy target. I went plastic free for a year with my family and discovered how difficult it was. So I felt I needed to do something more practical than just the academic research that I was doing at a high level. Yeah.
So what has been done in New Zealand? Now that's you on a personal level, so what's done New Zealand wide?
Not a lot, to be honest. There's been a lot of talk in Parliament about it. I've made a personal submission on behalf of Carrying Our Future and our Seize Our Future to Parliament, and it was considered. Also contributed to a bill through the Green Party to reduce single-use plastic bags. It hasn't come through Parliament again yet. They go through sort of like a ballot, hasn't been drawn. And as I say, there's a lot of interest in this in the media. There's a lot of talk about it, but the National Party hasn't really made any significant moves in this direction.
So why do you think New Zealand is so far behind the rest of the world in this issue?
I really do think it comes down to political will. I think it comes down to economics imperatives over environmental, although if the politicians really saw it more holistically, they would understand that actually the environmental imperatives also impact on the economic imperatives. And so I'd like to see a drive for alternative plastics being produced in New Zealand, some innovative research and design, to plastics, including plastic bags that don't have toxins in them, that are benign in a variety of ecosystems, and that also bolster our economy, where we don't have to keep on wasting our resources, wasting plastic bags as fossil fuel-based resource, not waste.
So how do you think this speaks to New Zealand's image and our brand of 100% pure?
I think it's embarrassing. And the reason I think it's particularly embarrassing is because there's been huge leaps and bounds in this direction internationally. Bangladesh, China, most developing countries now have either banned single-use plastic bags in a variety of single-use plastics, including polystyrene, and New Zealand's very slow off the mark there.
So what impact does Carrying Our Future have?
So I guess I could, sort of be a little bit critical about this, or one could be quite critical and think, this is a very local kind of sort of a set of activities around this very big issue. And you could also be critical and sort of say, it's just exacerbating this increased focus on citizens to be more responsible, where in fact the issue lies far more broadly in terms of industry, in terms of where the waste comes from, so from industrial plastics, where it comes from, waste in general really comes from military waste, mining waste. Those are where the big waste issues come from. So some people could see this as just another distraction or contributing to it. I don't see it like that. I see it that if consumers, everyday consumers, can deal with the plastic they're very familiar with, it will heighten their awareness about the bigger problems. And my hope is that this will encourage people to act on it more broadly, nationally, internationally.